dealing with technical stuff because I have someone else on call today. You cannot hear me because you're deafened still. You are deafened. Please check your DMs. I can hear you. You just cannot hear me. That's probably the future. Yep, because you're deafened. Yep, you just cannot hear me because you're deafened. You just have to click on the little. Hold on. I can actually do this. How do I? No, I can hear you. Change window. Yes, and you are deafened. That's why. Can I undeafen you? Yep, you are just deafened. Oh, you know what? Hold on. Guys. No, I. We are just trying to. Hold on. Let me see if I can stream a different screen for you. Change windows. No, that's the. Hold on. That should help. Yeah. That's weird. Let me get back to the other. Yeah, you can just right click. You can just do that too. I know it's repeating. I think you can. Hold on. I believe you can change that as well, but there should be an option for that as well. No. Channel. Just so the stream knows. Hi, Eximus. We are trying to deal with that. Sure, go for it. Yep, dealing with technical issues. So I guess I can just drop to the coaching screen. I'm just using. He's deaf. So here's the problem. He's deafened, and I can hear him, but he cannot hear me because he's just deafened. Oh, there you are. Now you can hear me. Now you can hear me. All right. Nice. Hello. All right. So are you watching the stream now? Oh, did your mic break? I cannot hear you now, and I'm not deafened. Oh no, there you are.
You can't hear me.
I can hear you now. I can hear you now. I don't know what you did, but I can hear you. Right. So hold on. Let me just get your code. Replace import. All right. So to those of you, we're gonna be watching a main tank player, mostly Monkey and Rein, I believe.
Yes, sir.
And we're doing live because We also this one. Okay. So to begin with, I've said this one on the last time. Diamond is the rank where you can start considering what tanks are best for your for each map, right? And Rein is not that good on this map in particular. Ruins is better for like Monkey. Ruins is better for just Sigma, any hero that I can contest main and has long range damage. Because the thing is, this is very open. So at Diamond, you have to start considering which hero choices are the best for you. And honestly, on this map, a map as open as this one, I'd recommend probably Sigma, probably Monkey, so you can cross the distance very fast. With Rein, the best rotation you can make is go this way and try to fight inside this, right? You can try to hold here, you can try to hold here.
Why can't we rotate to coast?
Oh, this is just too open for Rein. Mega is not enough of a matter, because if you rotate through coast with Reinhardt, first you've got nowhere to hide behind. It's very open and people can just shoot you from like every angle. And Rein is good at protecting one angle, but Rein is really bad at protecting against multiple angles. So maybe you rotate through Mega, or maybe you want to play here. But if they have a Widow, like a spot that snipers usually take is, hold on, let me go higher. Snipers usually like to play up here. So if you go Rein and you hold shield here, you can get shot from 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 the point. Rein can only hold one angle. This is why Rein is really good on close spaces. If you go this way, you only have to hold this. Or maybe this door if they are pushing this door, but if they're not pushing this door, you only have to hold this. They cannot really shoot you from anywhere else. Yeah, they can come all the way around and try to shoot you, but if they make this rotation, they are very much far away from their team. And in the time that it takes them to make the rotation, you can just win the fight by attacking their team. So with Rein in particular, you probably really always want to look for closed areas. Rein is really good at closed areas, and he's worse at very open areas. Like this entire point is very open, so it's not great for Rein. But if you think about Lighthouse, right, which is, hold on, where's Lighthouse? Lighthouse.
It's up top.
It's
there. No, that's...
No, it's, yeah, this is Lighthouse. If you think about Lighthouse, that's well, where's Lighthouse? Should be around here somewhere.
Just down there, all the way down. Look back there, look back at well.
Yeah.
Look back at well and all the way down there.
Right. Oh, yeah, I see what you mean. There. I think, no, this is not Lighthouse. I'm very
confused. Wait, that's not it.
That's well.
I thought it was.
No, I think Lighthouse is on the other side. Maybe not. I don't know where Lighthouse is. Is it like way above? I don't think so. Anyway, you know what I mean. Like Lighthouse has that very close choke that only has like 2 entrances on each side, and this is really good for Rein because it's a close point. And if people want to come in, they have to get through the chokes, right? You can just swing. You can hold the chokes. It's a lot better for Rein. The other hand, this is just like, way open.
For example, King's Row or Numbani, not Numbani, but close, like you said, close, like King's Row is a good example for Reinhardt.
Yes.
Hanamura.
Yes, all of those maps that have those slight chokes and a lot of cover are really good for Reinhardt because you can hold the one choke really well. Like I was saying, Rein is really good at holding one area, and when you have a choke, then you can hold it with Rein really well because your shield blocks the entire choke and they cannot get around. On this map, if you hold one area, like if you hold here, they can get around very many different ways. That's why Rein is not as good on very open maps.
I have a question about that.
Yep.
Like, well, the main motive of me going Reinhardt, I would have loved to play Winston here. Matter of fact, I even considered it. But the main reason I didn't go Winston is because of our comp. We go Ashe, we go Mercy, Zarya, and I think we go McCree and one more person, I don't know.
We can... There you go. Looks like you go... Ashe, Echo, Mercy, Ana, Zarya, Rein. This is actually an amazing monkey comp. This is a really good monkey comp. I would recommend you go dive with this composition because Echo doesn't play behind Rein, right? Rein is really good at holding one choke and enabling his team behind him. But on this team, you've got basically no one that's going to play right behind you. Maybe the Zarya only. Because Ashe is probably going to be set up here, right? Echo's going to be on the skies. Ana is going to be way back. Mercy's going to be either with the Ashe or with the Echo. And it's only going to be you and the Zarya here. And Zarya doesn't need your shield. So I would have heavily recommended you go Monkey with this comp. instead of Rein, especially on this map, because with Monkey you can go in, get the Zarya bubble, do a lot of damage, then your Ashe is free to do damage, your Reiko is free to do damage, and you can just kill people very, very fast. So yeah, I would, especially with this composition, I would have recommended Monkey. If your team does go with this, but it's like 1 second until the doors open. Other than that, I would say that's the starters start thinking about what you can play on each map and how it works. It's okay, charging off a span, get to the point faster. Again, you really want to make the rotation through inside.
Yeah, I told my team hold coast.
That's okay. Like if your team followed you, which I doubt they will, because
Reinhardt
it's
underneath.
Yeah. Here's the thing: even if your team listens to you, they probably will not follow you because they're playing Ashe, who's a sniper and wants to stay far away. Echo, who's just very mobile, will probably be in the air. Zarya should be with you, yeah. Ana, who's gonna be very far back because Ana doesn't want to be in the thick of things. And Mercy, who will be one of the DPS. So you're basically kinda playing by yourself, and you're gonna be with this team comp with Rein. You're gonna have to coordinate with Zarya really well to get a lot of value. Alright, let's see how it goes.
I see he's on the low ground, so I was like, might as well take the space here and fight the fight here.
This is fine. Again, with Rein, you really want to do. It's good when they run it in the open. I just really like with Rein in particular, you go this. If you have any other tank, then yeah, probably you can play on the Mega. But Rein in particular is pretty good for close spaces like this. It's not that good for. Like with Monkey, yeah, with Monkey you can play here because you've got the dive, you got a very good ability to go anywhere else. But yeah.
Yeah, you've got a point.
And again, because you basically got like Ashe, who's very long range, Zarya, who's not able to follow you because you charge forward. You're basically playing by yourself right now.
I noticed that, yeah.
And I don't think this was like a bad idea to try to contest this area. But again, because first, you're charged too far away from your Zarya, and second, because they have a Lucio, so they get to the area faster anyway. You can see that the entire team's here, and you've got you're already taking a lot of damage. Zarya is only now trying to come in. Ashe is trying to help, but she cannot reach. So, on that note, don't just charge forward and leave your team behind. Like, charging out of spawn is fine, but be aware of where your team is, right? Like, if you come this way, and you just go this way, and you are here, and your Zarya is all the way here because she doesn't have charge, you're definitely not gonna get enough value because Zarya is just not gonna be able to help you at this range. Alright, let's keep looking. You're probably gonna die here. You get the Mega, which is good. Your Ana is dead. So now you've got no healing. Yeah. So too long don't read. You made a play because you were like, I can take the space. But because they have a Lucio, they all just were very together. They were able to get here a lot faster than your team. And you basically went in by yourself because your team wasn't ready. You got charged, so you can contest, but your team is not with you. And they are all together because,
my mindset was, right, I saw that the Reinhardt was there by himself. I thought my team would be able to get here anyways before the Reinhardt had time to take high ground. That was my mindset.
Two things about that. First,
they have Lucio.
Not only do they have Lucio, you couldn't have known that they have Lucio anyway. But still, it's not a good custom to go that far ahead of your team. Because even if they can catch up, then maybe if they have faster heroes, like if they had a Tracer, or if they do have a Lucio, right? Or maybe if they had Ball or Monkey Diva or anything like that, you don't know what they're going to roll with. You knew they had Rein, right? But so maybe they could have pushed on you faster than your team could have reinforced you. Because Ashe needs time to rotate usually to the high ground.
Yeah.
I will say this. Don't worry a lot about the point. Like, until it's capped, the point is not that big of a deal. It's even better to give... Yeah, you cannot play this aggressively until your team is with you. It's basically it. And I will say, the point is, of course, you got to put pressure on the point. But you don't have to worry so much about capping the point until not until it ticks over, but it's more important to win the fight than to cap the point. Because if you win the fight, even if you give them 10% because they capped first, the fight is won. You just go back to the point and recap it, and now you've got point control, which is very important. In this case, you're just dead. And your team dies because they have no main tank, which is real somewhat. Now we got a McCree instead of an Ashe, so McCree should be playing with you, at least. Yorana gets a kill, that's solid. They are down, and we are with the team, right? Like, not everyone is here, but most of us are here. No, actually, everyone is here. I thought the McCree was a little behind, but I guess he's not. So your team is with you this time. You can definitely push the Rein. Let's see. The Rein is... I would just swing at this Rein, right? Your entire team is with you. And his team is all the way back here.
I thought to myself that if I just put my shield and just walk up, he's gonna run back anyways. That was my mindset.
So the thing is, you're holding shield for too long. He's getting free swings at you. And ideally, you don't want to just hold shield when you are in the front of the Rein, because his damage goes through your shield anyway, right? And you're basically giving him free swings into you. So in the 1v1 battle, you really just want to do as much damage and kill him as fast as you can. Like,
yeah,
he's so far separated from his team. Like, he was holding here, and you were here, and his team was still here. He was so far away from his team, so separated, that I would just have run at him and try to kill him. This Rein playing here is like way too far away from his team. You can just run him over. Because you're...
I was just think, even if I did swing, my mindset is that I don't think he's gonna die. You know what I mean? There's no point in it. If I could just let my team do the damage, that was my mindset. He would push back anyways.
Two things to that. First, he's got a 1600 HP shield as well, right? And your damage can go 3 shields, whereas most of your team damage cannot. So you should push him to pressure himself and swing at him to lower himself, even if he's, well, not being focused down. And secondly is that if he's playing this far forward, like look where supports are. His supports are, Hisana is playing all the way back here. I want to see her line of sight. If the Rein is playing all the way here, she cannot see him. Yeah, I'll just point it out in the chat. Like, he has to make all this rotation for Hisana to help him, whereas your entire team can already see him. If you lead your team and just swing at the Rein, you will kill him before he gets the chance to retreat, or before he kills one of you. Instead, you just hold the shield for very long, and you take a ton of damage, and you take a ton of shield pressure as well. Because you both give him the time to start moving back to his team, and to his team to start moving forward, and you are basically not giving your team any help, because it's gonna be very hard for them to shoot past this choke. You can see this is a very good choke again. A very good choke as well. And your team is playing behind the choke, so they don't actually need you to shield for them. You just swing at your team, like, yeah, McCree may be short, but and they do have some spam damage, and your shield does help, but not as much as just swinging at the Rein and securing the kill will. At this point, you're purple, so you're basically just dead. You've got a Rein on your face, and you're separated from your team. Honestly, this is one of those situations where I would just, like, the fight is probably lost. I would just charge to get my ult charge up. Like, you should be retreating. The fight is still lost. Sorry, what did you say?
I didn't even pay attention to the kill feed, to be honest.
That's okay. You should be paying attention to the kill feed.
Like, in that instance, I was under so much pressure, I wasn't thinking straight.
Yeah, that happens. And yeah, this fight is lost. She gets nanoed, you get slept, she shatters. Honestly, I'm glad they used ult here, because the fight was already lost. Like, we lost a Reiko, we don't have rest because Mercy rest Ana, you've got literally no resources, your shield is broken, you've got 100 HP. This fight was already lost, and they used ults, so I'm glad they used ults. We are getting value because they used ults and the fight was already lost. So now that he is shot, yes?
How can you identify, like, that the fight is lost? Let's say you lost it, like, you lost someone, or maybe, like, even two. Is there any other way that you can identify that the fight's still winnable?
Yes, there is actually... It's not even about losing people, it can even be as little as resources. And what a lot of higher ranked teams will like to do is that if they don't think they can win a fight, even if they haven't lost anyone, and especially if they haven't lost anyone, they will make a soft retreat, they will play safe until they get their resources back and then go back in. So, like, maybe you are trying to push, but they just did a lot of damage and your shield is at 100 HP, it's gonna be very difficult to win this fight, right? Like, if you just try to push, but you've been taking a million poke damage, and your shield is low and your health is low, maybe it's good to realize that you cannot win that fight unless one of your teammates pops up. So you can get out, and it doesn't necessarily depend on, well, we lost 2 people, so yeah, if you did lose 2 people, it's probably a good idea to realize that the fight is lost. Communication, definitely.
DPS.
Yeah. I will say, there's, even at higher ranks, there's something called planning a win condition, and if your win condition, if your win condition is still alive, like maybe you were planning to nanoblade, and you lose to Mercy, right? Your Mercy is killed by a random Widow headshot. That fight is actually still winnable, because we've got our win condition, right? They don't have trance, they don't have beat, like, yeah, it's still winnable. Even though you may be down a Mercy. At the same time, you may not have lost anyone, but because you've used like both Zarya bubbles and the Rein shield and the nade, you got no resources left. So you may have lost the fight even though you lost no one yet. It's a matter of evaluating fight by fight. And again, like, the same thing happens, right? If they kill someone, maybe they do kill a Mercy, but the Mercy, they have to use like a lot of resources. Like, they use stun, and they use Samp, and they use the nade, and they use sleep, and they use the bubbles, and the Rein shield is low. Yeah, you may be down one player, but their team has no resources, so it's still winnable. And this was especially true in Goats. I don't know if you know of Goats meta, but in Goats meta you could win fights even when you were like 2 or 3 people down, depending on how many resources the enemy team had left and how many resources you had left.
Sometimes, right, I don't think that my team is going to take advantage of that. I have this one thing in the back of my head that I will see this. Like, I will see that Ana has used her nade, Lucio has used his amp, and like McCree has used flashbang. They're low on resources, right? I identified this, but I push in and my team still does not want to push in, for example.
You should communicate with them. Like, Diamonds is where communication starts to play a lot of a bigger role, and playing main tank, you thrive on communication. You need to communicate with your team. Like, I will say that there is no other option. You have to communicate with your team. Even if it's just yelling at them, I'm going, so that they know that you're going and you're not explaining why. Just letting them know that you're going is enough for them to be like, well, if he's going, I've got to go as well. Even if it's the right...
So you don't need to tell them why.
No, it's actually better, like... I will say, if you have the time, then yes. But usually during a fight, if you spend like 5 seconds telling them, well, Ana's out of nade and Lucio doesn't have amp, let's go. It's a lot of time. Like, it's at 3 to 5 seconds you spend telling them why.
Yeah, but you can shorten it, be like, no resources, let's go in.
Yeah. The shorter you can keep it, the better. I usually do, as an example, that I know lower rank Zarya players, if they communicate, they will go like, oh, I don't have my bubble, when the rank wants to go in. And those are... Hold on.
Oh my god, I got a story for you. I remember I was playing Temple of Anubis, and the Rein's like, I'm shielding. We can see you're shielding.
Okay, yeah, that's a thing as well, but... I wanted to point out effectiveness of communication. I don't have my bubble is 5 words and it can take you 2 to 3 seconds to say. Whereas saying bubble in X, so bubble in 3, bubble in 2, bubble in 5, is 3 words, takes 1 second to say, and it tells you more information. It tells you that the Zarya doesn't have the bubble yet. It tells you that the Zarya bubble will be ready in 2 seconds, and it's delivered in a short amount of time. So I don't have my bubble. Sorry, let's make it I don't bubble, just to keep it short so I can keep explaining. So I don't have my bubble is longer and it transmits less information, whereas bubble in X is shorter and gets the communication more effectively.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, with comms you want to keep it as short as possible and as direct as possible, while giving as much information as possible. So if you, for example, say, I'm fire striking, yeah, like you said like, you had a rank who was just telling you, I'm shielding all of the time. And yeah, your team can see that, but your team doesn't know that you will fire strike. So that's the call you want to make. You can go like, fire striking. which your team should understand, is I'm dropping the shield. I'm not only using my cooldown and trying to do damage, but I'm also going to drop my shield, so you are aware of it, and you don't have to say, I'm dropping my shield. You can just go fire striking.
Yeah, true.
Allowed, more advanced thing to do in the run matchup is try to wait the bubble. Yes, but first they don't have a Lucio to run them over, and no. Okay, let's see.
I guess something that you told me, which I learned a lot, that like from that one thing that you told me, is I should have noticed the enemy's rotation. I should have seen that. I should have identified that he was far away from his team. But something told me that they were going to help him, and like my team was going to die for the case of me trying to like push in.
Here's
Like
the thing.
I have this spirit like behind my head.
You've got to be confident with your actions. If you start doubting yourself, you will not get very far, because if you start thinking about things, even the 1 second that it takes you to think about things like that, like, oh, my team may not push with me, that 1 second can make the difference. And
True.
something I've learned to do, especially as Reinhardt or Monkey, is that you've got to trust your team. Rein and Monkey in particular are very team dependent heroes. You've got to trust that your team is gonna be with you, even if they're not, even if they don't all follow up. You've got to trust that they will be, and that they will listen to you and act when you say that they will act. Because if you don't, then you are just playing at like 2 or 3 paces behind the enemy, right? So you just gotta be like, okay, I'm gonna make this play, and I'm gonna tell my team that I'm gonna make this play, and I'm gonna trust that they will beat me. Because even if they're not, if you start to think about, well, they may not be with me, they may not, you are gonna spend a lot of time just doubting your team and doubting yourself and not making plays.
I guess so.
You are just, like, again, wait for your team to be ready. Your Ana, that is a McCree actually. Your McCree is not in position. Your McCree, that's your McCree. No, that was the Ana. No, what? Oh, this is Echo McCree. I was so confused for a second. I was like, wait, McCree's there. Wait, no, McCree's here. Now this is Echo McCree. So what I meant is, you are going in, your Zarya is still walking forward, she's not with you. Ana is not exactly ready to go in either, like, you want to give her time to set up, maybe behind one of the columns or something. Echo just...
I don't know, bro, but like, how can I know? Like, I know I want to push in, but I don't see my Anna in position, but she's safe. You know what I mean? Like, how can I expect them to go into position if I'm just holding choke? Or
Don't
if
hold
like
choke.
I'm starting to push through.
Don't wait for your team. Just play here until your team is with you, right? You play behind the cover, and they cannot shoot at you because, well, you've got cover. So just play here, wait for your Zarya, right? If you hold, I don't know if you know this, but if you hold the shield and you hold the swing button at the same time, actually, I'm just gonna show you that right now. Leave game. We can come back to the game in a moment. But Rein, practice range. Right. Okay. So what I want to see is that you can actually look behind you while you're holding your shield. If you hold the swing button at the same time you are holding the shield, I think you're in console, right? It's mouse 2 and mouse 1 in PC.
You hold L2 and R2, and then you can turn around.
Yeah. So basically, if you can look behind you and you can see whether your team is ready or not, without having to be like, well, I don't know. I saw someone that did this a lot to check whether his team was behind him or not, and I was like, please don't do that. You are exposing yourself to the enemy. So what you basically want to do is play behind cover, right? Play here, and then confirm whether your team is ready or not. And when your team is with you, then you can come out of cover and start pushing. But if your team is not with you, then there's no reason to get out of cover. You are safe here, right? And your team is safe because they should also be behind the cover. So, going back to the game. Profile. Who plays to us? Illios.
I have another question then. Let's
Yes?
say they're not wise enough to understand to get into position. Do I still push in?
If your team is with you, you push in. Even if they're not in the best position, if they're around you and if they're near you, then you should be pushing in. Hold on, I think this is where we left off. One more. this is just a few seconds too forward, but it should be okay. So here's what I mean, right? Now let's slow down. So you are pushing main, right? This is fine. Pushing main is okay. With Rein is probably what you want to do. Just hold here. Just wait here, because if they want to push you here, they have to get out of line of sight of their team, right? The Rein has to walk past the choke to swing at you, and if he walks past the choke, he doesn't have support. So you just hold here. When your Zarya is with you, when the Ana is ready, let the Ashe and the Mercy, the Echo and the Mercy go on their own, because they're basically flankers. When the McCree is with you, because McCree is like all the way respawning right now. So you can see that McCree and Zarya are all the way here. They are literally in spam right now. And you are already pushing the choke. Just wait. Just wait for them here. It doesn't have to be that one. Just choose any cover that you want to take, and just stand behind the cover until the team is with you. Even here, if you want to push this far forward, like, I'm fine. This is 5 strike, right? You want to play on the choke? That's fine. Just wait. You did the right thing there. You were just there for a second, but your team is still not with you. Oh, hold on, let me just.
I never understood the importance of just sitting there. I thought I was doing nothing.
It's fine. Waiting for your team is not doing nothing. Waiting for your team is regrouping, because right now you're pushing with 1, 2, 3 people, right? Maybe 4 if you count the Mercy going for the to help the Echo. But even the Ana is not in an ideal position, and the Zarya is definitely not going to be able to help you, and the McCree is like literally out of the fight. So
I guess looking at this VOD review, right? Let's say that the McCree was near that Zarya, like they were literally like by side, holding hands, like whatever. My mindset would have been there that they will catch up with me. You know what I mean?
In the time, I will say this, in the time it takes to catch up for you, in the time it takes for them to catch up to you, which can be only 2 seconds, 2 seconds is a very long time in Overwatch. Like, if you're standing in the choke with your shield out for 2 seconds and only holding the shield, it will break in 2 seconds. Right? If you're doing this for 2 seconds while you wait for them to get to you, your shield will break, and you will go into the fight with like 100 shield and 350 HP because you took damage when your shield broke. You can see that this is actually what's happening right now. You've got half health, you've got low shield, and your team is not with you.
And then I push in.
And then you also push in. But even without pushing in,
it's so cringe. Fine. I don't know how I didn't think about that.
This is why both reviews are good, and this is also why people recommend you watch your own gameplay, because at the time you may be like, I'm pushing in and it's fine, but when you watch it back, you realize that my team was nowhere near me at that point. So yeah, I'd recommend watching your own replays from time to time to see, well, what went wrong. And right now this is it, because you're not only standing in the choke and you're wasting the Zarya bubble, you wasted your own resources, right? You lost health, you lost shield, but also up to here, this is a mistake.
I wasted my team's resources.
Yes, you wasted your own resources, your team's resources. Ana is throwing a nade. She's wasting shots in healing you. Up to here, I will say this is just a mistake, just an inaccuracy. But after that, you push, and that's a big mistake. Because you are also pushing in with like no health, no shield, no bubble. Because the bubble's already used, right? Like, look at this. You are pushing in, you've got 350 health, you've got like 900 shield, something like that. Let's check. You actually got full shield. But you're still pushing it with low health, no Zarya bubble, no nade because Ana has already used it, and your Zarya is far behind. If from here, yeah, this is a waste of resources, but it's not as bad as pushing forward. If you just took a step backwards, held behind the cover, right, just wait here for 2 seconds, let Zarya get the bubble back, you can get your health back from the Ana, then you push in, only 2 seconds. Like I said, it's a long time in Overwatch. You will get back to full health, you will have your shield at full, and then you can push in again with your team. And without having like half of your resources out already. So yeah, they catch up to you. They do catch up to you, right? Well, Zarya catches up to you because, well, she wasn't that far behind. McCree's still nowhere near. Like, McCree's all the way back there just now. You've got no resources. Zarya's used her bubble. And you've taken like 200 damage already, and your shield is taking damage. So it's maybe a very difficult fight to win because you are going in with no resources. I don't know why I did that. In any case, I noticed that it always does that. When Junkrat tires, it just draws you to the Junkrat, to the tire. In any case, this is what I mean, right? Not only are you pushing this, but you're spending too much time in the open as well. You, like, being at this range is not good for you. If you commit to pushing, commit to pushing. Try to wear the Rein out as much as you can, and either make him retreat or die trying. Because he's got a Lucio, right? And you don't. So you cannot get out of his range, but he can get out of yours. With Lucio speed, if you play at this range, he can just catch up to you. But you cannot catch up to him, so you are just giving him time to recover his resources. Lucio is very important to a Rein's playstyle. If you don't have a Lucio, honestly, it's gonna be making things a lot more difficult. And again, feel free to ask any questions and interrupt me a little bit. I'll pass.
So far, you've answered questions in which I did not know of. Like, I just like if I can use my question, or like, I just want to recap that overall in that situation that I was in, because I want to get everything in.
Yeah.
Like, it is very, very important to hide behind cover and wait for your team. I did not know that. I didn't wait for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Number one, hide until your resources are ready and your team's ready.
Yep.
And
like
then number two,
yes, go on.
Look at their positioning. Reinhardt was way out of his position.
Yep.
And like, what's it called? He was way out of position, and just swinging on him is much more better than holding your shield to pressure through.
Yep.
That, I was just thinking to myself, let me just hold shield. My team will push him anyways, but you will hit him through, which will put more pressure on him. And not only is he going to get shield damage, he's also going to take health damage. Shield damage from your team, health damage from you. And of course, be careful while doing that.
Yes, of course. Don't overextend, but you can put pressure on the Rein on top of your team's pressure, because think about it like this. If you hold your shield and your team is shooting, Rein can just hold his shield. And your shield usually has the same HP as his shield, but he was overextended, whereas you were with your team. So swing at him, put the pressure on, because what he wants to do is create space. He wants to get away so that his shield gets value, whereas what you want to do is you want to push in, because if you do damage to him, then his shield is not as good, because, well, he's just gonna die from you swinging at him. And your team, yeah, they will do damage, but if you are not doing damage to the shield, and again, a lot of heroes just cannot do damage to the shield, he's just gonna hold his shield. And if you're holding your shield, well, it's just gonna last the same amount of time, and it's gonna be a stalemate, but it's gonna give him time to get back to his team. Punish the overextension and just kill him.
I don't know. I never considered an overextension. Not to mention, I wasn't looking at the backline because he's such a huge guy with a shield. But I should be more paying attention to the backline. It's not like he's gonna one-tap me if I don't.
Exactly.
You got a point.
Rein's got 500 health with 200 armor, and you can die in 2 seconds if the enemy team focuses you down. Like, again, 2 seconds is a long time in Overwatch, but you are not gonna die if you just just swing your hammer once, and then flash your shield and examine the situation really quick, and if you got enough health, then you swing again, and you fire strike, right? You've got to be aware of the situation you are in, and yeah, sometimes maybe holding the shield is the right idea, but in this case it definitely is not. And honestly, most of the time, once you are up in the enemy's face, it's better to swing than it is to hold your shield. I believe Gibraltar is like 3200.
And it also varies as well. Like, judging from, there's these two important people on our team and their team, it's Diana. I have to be very careful about that. I don't want to get anti-nated, especially if my Zarya don't have bubble.
That's another thing, yeah. So here's the thing. I mentioned before that you had to waste the Zarya bubble very early. If you do have the Zarya bubble, then you can push in, even if Diana nades you, then you'll get the anti-bubble, right? And they waste a nade trying to get you. So this is why having resources is important, because, yeah, if they use a resource in the anti-net, right? They throw the anti-net at you and you get purple, your Zarya can cleanse that if she has her bubble available. It's a trade of resources, and if it's a trade of resources, that's fine. But if you go in and you don't have resources available, you are most likely going to lose that fight. It's about having options when you go in. And having the Zarya bubble is, first, of course, it's 200 health, right? It's 200 health extra that you get for free. Secondly, it's the option to give your Zarya more damage by giving her charge. And thirdly, it's the option to negate CC. So having the Zarya bubble available gives your Zarya 3 options to counteract your enemy team. Whereas if you just waste it on choke, she doesn't have any of those options. She's used it for charge.
Enemy Zarya has it.
Yeah, and the enemy Zarya has it when you push in, and she actually bubbles your Rein, and he gets more health, and she gets more damage, and I don't think it counters any CC, but at the same time, they don't need to. So this fight is basically lost because no resources. So again, it can always happen that one of your DPS just pops off and kills everyone. I don't know why it takes you to watch the Junkrat. That's a good charge, by the way. I like saying this, charging. If you're gonna charge someone, always try to charge them into your team rather than away from your team. Because if you don't want to be far away from your team, Rein is a team player. So if you're gonna set up for a charge, if you're gonna try to do a charge them into your team. Because now, well, both you can be helped by your team, right? Diana's right beside you, and well, their team cannot help them because you brought them away. So this is a good charge. I like this charge. The fight was probably lost anyway, but I like the charge. And honestly, this kill may turn the fight around because you just killed Rein. And I know I don't know why you're shuddering. I think it's too early. I just noticed that you pressed Q. I was gonna say, you've got low health, you've got low shield, so this is the perfect situation to just regroup for a second. Maybe not here, maybe here, if it's closer and safer for you, maybe get the Mega and then push in. So, because...
Lucio, I thought we could kill him.
Right, but this kill is basically won the fight already, right? If you take it slow, you're gonna win the fight. Because they don't have a Reinhardt. And you've got everyone in your team. So if you take it slow, you're gonna win the fight. Even if you want to invest Shatter...
I have a question about that. Let's say that, like, shattering, and not shattering would still get you the team win, if you play it correctly.
On this situation, probably yes.
Of course, if the enemy DPS do not.
In most cases, not shattering and playing it slow, getting the Mega, then going at them, would probably still win you the team fight. But I wanna say, I'm okay with you using Shatter. I just don't want you to use Shatter with 100 health and no shield. I want you to take a second, either get the Mega or stand on the choke and stand on the cover and let your supports heal you, and then you can go in. Because if you Shatter right now, you've got to go aggro, right? If you Shatter, you want to go aggro after the Shatter. So the thing is, you cannot go aggro right now because you're at 100 health and your shield is low. So at least take the Mega.
If you skip forward like 5 seconds, please don't watch what's about to happen.
Okay, he gets the bubble, and that's unfortunate. That's fine. Again, I'm okay with you using Shatter, and if it gets blocked, whatever. But rather than whether the Shatter was big or not, what I want you to realize is that you cannot follow up on this Shatter. Even if you had hit 4 people with the Shatter, even if you had hit everyone, just the Drunkard being alive can kill you in 1 second with just one of his what's it called? Mines, explosive mines. So you cannot follow up on this Shatter because of your health. You really all I want you to do is take the Mega and then Shatter if you want to. Because the Mega is gonna put your health back at the point where, you're not gonna be full, but you're gonna have enough health to follow up on the Shatter. And again, I don't have a problem with you using the Shatter. I don't have a problem with you missing the Shatter because you're trying to make a play, and that's fine. The problem I have is that you're trying to go in before being ready to go in. Let's look at your health. You've got 75 health and 700 shield. So you got less than half of your shield and 10% of your HP. Maybe 12.5. Yeah, exactly 12.5% of your HP. So you're trying to go in with very low resources. Even if you hit the Shatter, even if you hit everyone in the Shatter, this health is not enough to push into them. So you cannot capitalize on the Shatter. Even if it was 4 people Shatter. All I want you to do is take a second and get the Mega or get heals from your supports.
Interesting, brother.
And again, you're pushing in with like very low health, so you shouldn't do that. Like, yeah,
I was just thinking
again,
to myself, we need to push.
no, you've got the advantage. Like, how long is it gonna take the Rein to get back? Think about that. The Rein has to respawn, which
See,
is
like
about 8
12
seconds.
seconds.
Then he's got to come if you take the fight here, he's got to come all the way here, which is gonna take him 5 seconds for charge, and then another like 5 to 10 seconds running if the Lucio goes back. So you've got about 30 seconds without the Reinhardt. Let's be conservative. Let's say 20 seconds without the Reinhardt, between he respawns and maybe makes it back somehow in 10 seconds. You've got 20 seconds to use. And 2 seconds in Overwatch is a big time. Like, you can do a lot of damage. So, again, just spend 2 seconds or even 1 second and get the Mega, get healed, and then push into them. You just
Fair
kill them
enough.
anyway.
I'll remember that when it.
But again, I want to point this out. You kill them. The fight was won, right? You kill the Reinhardt, you win the fight. You do a lot of damage to them, and their team is focused trying to kill you, and they do. But you could have survived if you'd taken like 1 extra second to get the Mega. You would not be dead to a single, like, hold on, I want to watch Jungler's perspective on this one. I think he only hit like literally 1 shot on you. He used a star, blah blah blah, they take that out. You shatter, okay. You miss the shatter, this is fine. Look at the Junkrat, he's literally just shooting at you. And 1 shot from the Junkrat will kill you. And I think that's probably what kills you anyway. Yeah, it takes 2 shots because your supports are healing you, but if you had taken the thing, you would not have even been close to dying from the Junkrat. He doesn't have the mines, he doesn't have anything to kill you. Just take the extra second, get the Mega or get healed.
Understandable.
And again, I want to point out, this charge won you the fight, because you killed the Rein and then they used all of their resources trying to help him. And then you push just a second too early, which in the fight is probably still won because you are up like 2 people. But you could have been alive and you could have been getting more value. You could get more ult charge and you can help your team. I think you could rest, so that's a good job on the Mercy. But you could have prevented this. This is now 30 seconds. We don't have rest. So again, this is wasting a resource. Wasting a cooldown, right? A resource that we could have used later. I'm fine with you charging point if you want to, because it's a 1 fight. The Zarya killed 2. Okay, so maybe it's not a 1 fight, and you being alive would have changed this. Oh, let's go back. So you killed the Rein.
You know what, brother?
Yep.
I think, to be honest, you've taught me more than enough. Like, when I say more than enough, like, I feel like there's a lot for me to work on anyways, even in this one little thing that you taught me. That it needs to get etched into my memory. I think it's alright if we stop the coaching from here.
No, I'll do the whole thing. But if you're fine with it, I'll stop explaining that much if you want to, and I'll keep like pointing at mistakes.
I appreciate your advice. I very appreciate your advice, but you've given me a lot to work with. You know
Okay,
what I mean?
that's fair. I will say,
even if you're giving me all of it, I will work on it. I was also gonna ask you at the very end, could you write down all of the things that I need to work on, my core issues, and I was gonna screenshot it and keep looking at it and remember it every game. I wouldn't even care about losing my SR to work on it. You know what I mean?
Okay, I want to say this. You should not overload yourself. You should work on things one thing at a time, because if you try to do multiple things at once, your attention goes very wrong. Like, you're trying to do a lot of things at once. The way to learn in Overwatch is you focus on one thing until it becomes a part of your playstyle, then you focus on the next one. So maybe, I don't know, maybe you want to focus on holding the chokes, holding behind cover a little more. Then when you've got that engraved into your game, into your style, then you can move on to the next thing. Maybe you want to make sure your team is with you next, and you start looking behind you before fights. And once that becomes a thing you do naturally, and you don't have to think about it, you can keep pushing, right? And you can keep improving. But trying to focus on too many things will distract you from the game itself.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, any questions you have, I'm more than willing to answer.
Any questions that I have? Well, there was one question that I wanted to ask, but I feel like it was gonna lengthen, like
It's fine.
your answer,
I
and I
don't
felt
mind
like I didn't want to
whatever
pressure you
line.
with it. But my question is, what if it was the other way around? When I say the other way around, I don't mean as if they were on the enemy team, we were attacked. I mean is, what if their team was with them? Should
If
I
their
just
team was
play
with
it
the
super
Rhine,
slowly? Yeah, in the beginning, remember?
The beginning.
Let's take King's Row. Let's take King's Row, for example,
Okay.
right? Where everyone's grouped up. Or
Yep.
Hanamura, where everyone's grouped up, everyone's in position. It's hard to, like, not be in position.
Yep.
How would you play it out, like, in a way? I could take this advice. I mean, to be honest, like, I haven't even come up to that yet. Like, I haven't had, like, I'm pretty sure you'd help me out in the future if I had that problem. But it's just it's a thing I'm thinking about.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's go to settings, preset, where skirmish,
Skirmish?
map, hold on.
Interesting.
Where is King's Row? Stop. I usually don't skirmish so that you can fly around and do whatever without the game actually going. Because if not, you only have 5 minutes. Oh fuck! I put myself as a hold on, show lobby. There you go.
Spectator. Wait, you're spectating?
Yeah. I want to show you from above. Your question was. Oh, you can go over that. So your question was.
My question. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. You know, I thought you didn't know.
Now, your question was, what do you do when your team is actually ready to go in, right? How do you face that situation when the both teams are together, right? Or did I misunderstand? You can ask again.
You gave me the question perfectly.
Okay.
I'm just willing to know the answer.
So, there are 2 different answers. One answer is, well, if you're in attack, and one answer is if you're on defense, right? Because the situations are different. If you're on defense, what you do is here's the thing. King's Row is a really good map for holding corners. It's got a lot of corners that you can hold really well, and holding corners is basically, like I pointed earlier, it's basically infinite HP on these walls, right? It's a shield with infinite HP that doesn't take your resources. So what you do when defending with Rein is you use these corners. Maybe you want to defend here. If your team is with you, then you just hold this choke, and when they try to push, you swing at them, right? You swing at the corner, and you will get the damage, and they cannot push into you because, well, I'll explain corners really quick. Basically, if you hold here, you've got control of this whole area, right? For free. Just by standing here, you've got control of this area. Because, well, they cannot push into you. If they want to push into you, you've got the support of your team, whether your team is here, or maybe Diana is playing like all the way over here. As long as she can see you, you are getting healed, right? You are getting your team's resources, you are getting value, you can swing at them, you can shield. If you have a Lucio, you can even back out to the next choke if you have to. But by playing here, by playing the corner, and this is just an example corner, you can do this on any of the corners on King's Row. By playing here, what you are doing is that you are making this a line that they have to cross where you got the advantage. Because if they cross this line, right, and they want to swing at you, they've got to break the line of sight of their team. Like if the Rein wants to chase you and shoot at you, he's gonna be getting less support from his team because say Hisana is behind him. If Hisana is playing here, right, and you are playing here, she cannot see you, and if the Rein goes in, she cannot see him. So by playing here, what you're doing is you are getting more value because, well, your team can still help you, but the Rein's team cannot help him. And if they want to help him, they have to go like all the way here. And this is a lot more dangerous for an Ana to be than here, right? If the Ana is here and the Rein is here, they can just get shot very easily. And that goes for like every single choke. Just contesting the corner means that you can just hold this for free without using any resources, and you will hold this space. Honestly, like just being here, we also hold like a little bit of this space. But if they rotate behind the statue, then this cannot be. This is not free. So it's like more like this and a little bit of here. But let's just go with this for the sake of the argument. If they want to push at you when you're here, they've got to get out of line of sight of the rest of the team. They've got to expose themselves, because if you walk past here, not only are you going away from your team, but you've got no cover, and cover is really important, right? Your entire team can shoot at them while they're standing here. Just by holding behind the shield, behind the cover, you are forcing them to stand on the open, and standing on the open is really bad, because, well, they are just very vulnerable. Even if they have the Rein shield, right? Standing in the open for 1 to 2 seconds means that the Rein shield is gonna be at like 200 health. if he wants to make this rotation into you, there's a lot of damage coming his way, and if he just holds his shield, the shield's gonna be like less than half HP, and he's gonna take the fight in a worse position.
And that's what I did.
And that's actually what you did, yeah. So the Rein's gonna take both a fight with less resources because his shield is low and his health is probably not full, and on a worse position because his team cannot support him past the choke as much. Whereas this is a really good position. This is also why defending is usually seen as an advantage over attacking. Because, well, when defending, you can just set up on whatever corner you want, and they have to push into you. The same goes if you want to play here. And this is also a corner. You can use it as a corner as well. You can do damage this way, right? And you can meet someone there. But if you want to be safe, all you got to do is hide here. And this is not, like, this doesn't control as much space because, yeah, it controls this, but it doesn't control this space, so they can make rotation. But this is still really good. Like, you will see a lot of players actually play here rather than here. Because what this does is it allows you to have an even better retreat to a better corner. Whereas if you play here and they rush you and your team is not with you, then making this rotation means you probably die anyway. So this is safer. This is probably harder to push into if your team is listening to you and coordinating, but this is a lot safer. Especially if you don't have a Lucio, because if you're playing here and you don't have a Lucio, but they do have a Lucio, they will just speed onto you.
You're dead.
Yeah, and you cannot get out because you don't have a Lucio. So you can play here. If you have a Lucio, then you ask the Lucio, well, if you have a Lucio who's kinda coordinating with you, so you can coordinate to get out to the next corner and to get out to the next corner. But yeah, this is technically not as good as this, but it's played more because it's safer. In either case, if you're here, right, and you think you're maybe you've taken a lot of damage or whatever, and then you retreat to the next choke, and now this is your new corner. And if they want to push past this, because we're holding this space, they've got to either go around the long way, or they have to risk pushing into your line of sight. If they make a rotation is pretty bad for Rein to make, especially without a Lucio, because during rotation, if you got like maybe you've got a Hanzo, maybe your Hanzo is shooting from here, so you can just shoot for free for a long time, and because you're holding here, and if they want to get value, they cannot just push into you, they've got to make this rotation, your Hanzo gets to shoot for free during the rotation. And maybe if the Rein goes a little too far forward, and because he's on the high ground, maybe the Rein cannot protect someone behind him, and your Hanzo just gets a free kill. You force him into a long and advantageous rotation, just by holding here rather than in the open. If you are in the open, they can just run at you, right? They can just even shoot your shield until your shield breaks and then kill you with damage. If you're playing here, you are safe from that. So now the other question is, well, what do I do if I'm on the attack, right? You may be wondering, well, of course, the defense has the advantage. How do I break that? You take a rotation that's advantageous to you, and you keep rotating until you find one that's worth it. If you have a Lucio or a Mei or something like that, what a lot of teams would like to do is, if people are holding here, there are two rotations, which are two rotations to main. So if the team is holding here, what you do is you rotate to statue, and you are very careful not to break too far away from your team, because again, if they have a Hanzo or a Widowmaker, and you just break away from your team, they just kill you. What you do is basically, you come with Rein here, then you hold shield, you play behind this is called statue. You play behind statue.
And it's a form of cover.
It's again, yeah, it's cover. You can stabilize here, you can get all of your reserve pack, and then when your team is ready, you go out again with your full shield, and you push into them, and even if the Hanzo is here, he doesn't get as much value, because you're basically going with your team, and you're shielding them. And then again, you maybe you get here, so the Hanzo doesn't get much value, or maybe you just rush the Reinhardt. Either way is fine. But that's one way to counter it. The other one is, if you got a Lucio or a Mei, you can make this rotation. It's a lot more difficult to make without a Lucio or a Mei, because they just shoot at you. But if you got a Mei, then you put a wall here, and you make this rotation to hotel, and you take away the advantage, because while the Rein, if the Rein is here, and it's a front line of his team, he gets to contest this, he gets to contest this for free. If you come behind him, and he wants to do this, he cannot, because he may be doing this, and contesting this area instead, but your DPS or anyone can just shoot from here, so he's exposing himself, and you are gaining access to their backline, because if the Rein is playing here, then the backline is usually here. So you're basically gaining access to the backline. Maybe the Ana is here, Ana's play a lot here. So yeah, by using this rotation, you get behind the Rein. Now the Rein is basically on the backline of his team, and he's got to move to the front line, whereas the backline has to move again. You are forcing them to move, and you can get the engagement because again, now that you've taken this position behind the Rein, he's got to expose himself to your team shooting him from here. Whereas if he's playing here, your team cannot shoot him because his shield is aimed that way.
Yeah.
So rotations are the answer to corners. If they're holding this corner and you cannot push at them, or a lot of teams like to run Mei on this choke because Mei is actually really good on this choke. You just run Mei here, or you just put your Mei wherever you want, and when someone pushes in, you wall them off, you lose your speed onto them, and you kill them. The way to fix that, the way to play against that is by going to castle, to cinema.
Hotel,
yeah. So yeah, you avoid this choke. You can, if they're holding this choke, right? If they have a Mei or the Rein is holding here and you cannot push him, you just make a rotation to hotel. You just draw from hotel, and from once you are already here, you've moved past the choke. And if your entire team is with you, then the Rein holding this doesn't matter because your team can see you when you go in, and you can go in there directly at the Rein if you want to. The Rein should retreat at this point. Like if you go this way and the Rein is still holding here, you can just kill him. But if the Rein retreats and holds here, you can either go this way, or you can just take the high ground. You can go all the way around here, and from here, you can drop, because this, dropping like this, either enables you to get inside and make another rotation, or you can drop on top of him, or on top of whoever is here, or you can just drop and hold shield and push, because dropping here is a bit safer than coming this way. It saves you a little bit of time on rotation. In the case, it depends on the situation, but in general, if you go to avoid this choke, like I guess that's the point I'm trying to make. You can defend chokes with Rein. By playing behind the cover, you can hold that choke for a long time. The way you get around that is by making a rotation that doesn't go through the choke. And ideally with your team, like if you all move together, then you can shield them and you can move from rotation to rotation. So maybe let's make an example. Maybe the Rein is holding here, right? And you've got the Rein and you try to go like this. I'm using blue for your team and pink for the enemy Rein. So you try to go through main, and you're like, I cannot win this fight. Let's go through hotel. And their Rein is like, well, if they drop to hotel, they're gonna kill me. So I'm gonna back out to point. I'm gonna play here. And then you go, well, I'm not gonna push him through main because that's again, he's basically holding this choke. Now, like he's holding this choke now. I've erased everything like a moron. But if the Rein's here now, and you're here, you can go, well, I'm either gonna drop and go this way, or the long way.
That way?
These are your three options, right? This is bad because this is the choke he's holding. This is okay because, well, it gives you cover and you can shoot at the team. Like if your team is here, right? And the Rein is holding here, you can still shoot at behind the Rein. Especially if one of your DPS takes the high ground, because from the high ground here, even if the Rein shield is here, hold on, I'm too far up. Well, even if the Rein is holding here,
I have a question.
Yes.
My question is, let's say, because in order to be able to win the fight, you need to manage your shield to the best of your ability, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, because you don't want your shield melting out before his.
Yep.
Sometimes I have this tendency, like I have this shield management like problem, where sometimes I'll put it down to let it charge for a while, but then somebody behind me gets picked, or like I get anti-nated, or something very unexpected happens.
That's why you play cover. Cover is the answer to that. Because if you if you're playing here and you want to let your shield recharge, right? Your shield may break and you want to put it down, and you want to maybe hide, but your team will not hide if they are right behind you. You either got to coordinate it, which is more difficult, or you've got to just die on the front line. What you do is, instead of backing out towards this area, you push with your shield, then you claim this area. Once you've claimed this area, your team should be behind you, and they will also use the cover. That's why rotations are ideally good when everyone in the team does them. Because if you're just holding here and your shield breaks, then if you retreat this way, or if you're just holding here and your shield breaks, no matter where you retreat, your team will not be ready to follow. So you've got to complete the rotation. So even if you use your entire shield and some of your health, you've got to complete the rotation so that your team is safe behind the cover, right? What you've done is you push the Rein away, and now you've got control of this. You've got control of this area. Your team can play safely here, and once you got your shield back, because now this is a safe area where you can just wait. Once you got your shield back, you can make the next rotation. I hope that answers the question. I guess the idea,
Yes,
the short answer is just complete the rotation, and once you complete the rotation, you have cover to hide behind, and your team has cover to hide behind. So what I was getting at is, again, if you make this rotation or right, and you want to shoot at them, you get to shoot at here, or if one of your DPS is here, and the Rein is shielding this, then your DPS can shoot for free at what's behind the Rein. So the Rein goes from holding this entire area to holding, go above. So because the Rein shield can only hold so much vertically, the Rein goes from holding like all of this to holding like, well, if this is his shield, hold on, the other way around, this is his shield, then he's maybe blocking this, but your DPS can still shoot behind him. If they just take the high ground, or if they take maybe an angle, because again, if the Rein is holding here and your DPS can shoot this way, you're basically... the short answer is, you are giving your team, by making a rotation like this, you are giving your team another angle to shoot at. That's not one of that the Rein is controlling. Because if they want to shoot from this angle, the Rein is controlling. Like I said, Rein is really good at controlling one angle. So the way to play around Rein is you give your team a way to have a new angle. And by going this way, your team can now shoot this way. They can get to the high ground, they can shoot from the high ground. They can still shoot main if they want to, because you are contesting this angle. Instead of just having the one option, you are giving your team 1, 2, 3, 4 options to shoot at. 5 if you got a flanker.
The 4 option, I didn't see that. The 4.
You got high ground and you got low ground, basically. And then you got main and this one. Because high ground is actually a different angle than the low ground. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4. And these two look like the same, but because one of them is on high ground, they can shoot different angles.
I see.
Okay,
that's answered my question.
That's pretty much how you play with corners. I want to use King's Row because King's Row is really good at showing you the corners. Like, you can hold here, and you got this choke, then you can... King's Row is actually a map where you go from corner to corner. After that corner, you come to this corner, right, and you hold this. After that, if you are desperate, you can hold this corner, which is basically safety for your entire team, but you give up the point. So this is basically a really good corner to stabilize, and to be like, well, I'm gonna play here until my shield recharges, or I get health, or maybe until my Zarya gets the bubble back, and then I can push back in. So this is a good corner to stabilize, but not a good corner to hold because, well, point pressure, right? Then from there, you go to this corner. Didn't make it through. From there, you go to this corner, which is not ideal because it's a little too far forward, but you can still hold the corner. Then you go to this corner, which is the next corner, and this one is actually really, really good. That's why you see a lot of teams end up full holding here, because you just prevent them from going anywhere main, and if they want to go to the backline, they've got to make a very long rotation, or a very long rotation up to the high ground. So this is why it is actually a really, really good spot. Then you've got this one, which is again not as good as this one, because you've basically given up this area. And now that they can push, they have control of the mega, and they can make these rotations. So it's not as good, but it's still a corner you can try to hold. Then you've got this one, which is also pretty solid. This is where you see a lot of teams do hold as well, because, well, if you hold here, then they've got a very long way to get to you, and you can just shoot at them for free. And yeah, they've got flanking options, but the flanking options are very visible, right? They can. This is the one flank that's really good. But if they make these rotations, they are very visible, and your team can probably play against them. Then you got from that choke, from that corner to this corner, and this is also a really good one because, again, if they want to flank, the ways they got of flanking is this way, which is very visible. or this way, which is not as visible, but also if you got someone in the backline looking this way, they can see it, and also it's very difficult to make because you need a vertical mobility ability. So just hold here and you hold all of this space.
Overall, I understand the positions and angles you need to hold in with each rotation.
Yeah.
Like my question overall was like how to attack properly. And
yeah,
there was
you just
one
take
question
a
I
different
wanted
rotation.
to ask, but
yes,
I didn't want to interrupt you.
It's fine. I just went on to explain every corner of the map. Don't feel bad about interrupting me when I'm rambling.
Thank you very much, good sir. Let's say put yourself in the Reinhardt position, first rotation.
Attacking?
Like, yeah, no, defending.
Okay.
Like, if you can go up to it, right?
Yep. Here.
Let's say
here.
You are here, right?
Yeah.
And you hold. And Reinhardt starts putting like he's starting to try to rotate.
Yeah.
When would you say I should start to retreat now? Like I see him putting up his shield, and he's engaging this rotation now.
He's doing this.
No, he's pushing through choke to hide behind statue with like.
Oh, just swing at him. Just swing at him. You've got free cover. You don't need to put up your shield. You can swing at him for free. You can literally swing at the choke.
But when do I retreat?
Ideally, you just kill them, because if their team tries to push through and you are holding here, if they try to push through, you literally get damage on all of them at once with your hammer. If you look right to left with your hammer, it can actually hit like all of this. Literally every single one when they try to make a rotation. So if they try to make this rotation through you, and your team is with you, because if your team is not with you, they can just run you over. But if your team is supporting you, you don't have to move this way. You will just kill them over and over. Because even if the Rein gets through, your damage goes through the Rein shield. So you can do like 75, and it's gonna be buffed actually to like 85 damage, then another free 85 damage, then you fire strike for 100 damage, then you swing again for 85 damage. It's literally free damage for you because they just cannot shoot at you through the corner. Hold on, let me actually put myself in the Rein. Show lobby. Ooh. Now let me just pick Rein. Man, skirmish is running out of time.
I think you should put yourself on attack and just play defense.
You know what? I should have, but it's fine. I'm not gonna die anyway, so it's just a few seconds. Alright, so what I meant is, let's go to battle. If you're holding here, right, doing this will literally hit every single one in their team. And this is safe for you. You don't have to hold your shield like this. Holding your shield like this is bad. What you do is, when you are in the open, you swing. Right? You swing, you literally hit everyone in those choke. Like the right hammer, if you look, like what I'm doing is looking left and right with the hammer, it makes the hitbox bigger. It will hit further away. So if you're playing here and you're doing this, you're basically hitting everyone as they come through. Just corner swing, corner swing, it's called corner swinging. And by corner swinging, you are literally hitting everyone. As they try to come through, you hit everyone once, twice, fire strike, hit again, once, twice, right? You've done like 500 damage in 2 seconds. And you are basically taking no damage. And if they push you, all you have to do is this. Like, you don't even have to shield. Like, shielding may be nice in order to make the rotation, but really all you got to do is, you can see I'm stepping just 2 steps back, and I'm safe. Whereas if the Rein wants to be safe, he's got to either go all the way back or all the way forward. He's got no choice. So if I'm defending, I can just stand here and swing as much as I can. Just swing, and their team cannot get through this. Again, so long as your team is actually like seeing you and healing you and supporting you with damage. Because yeah, if you're alone and your team is nowhere to be seen, maybe your team is like all the way over there on that window, and you're playing here alone, you're gonna die. But if your team is with...
That'd be silly of them anyways.
Yeah. But yeah, if you're playing here, and your team is supporting you, and they try to push through main, it's gonna be very difficult. Even with a Lucio, like, Lucio can help you a lot in making the rotation faster, but even with Lucio, you can still do 1, 2 swings and a fire strike, and you'll do, right now it's 250, so it's gonna be 270 damage, to every single hero that tries to make rotation. Because with the right hammer, you literally get the entire choke with 1 swing. And the fire strike, of course, goes to people as well. So even if the Rein has his shield up, you can still damage through the shield with Rein. So what you do is you just walk forward, 1, 2 swing, fire strike, You come back and you have full shield, ideally survive. If your team is healing you, you should survive. And you'll just get like 300 damage for free. And you will kill the squishies, and you will just kill people. Like, if they keep trying to run into you this way, and you're playing this corner, it basically means I'm not gonna die. So long as my team is healing me, and doing damage with me and everything, I can just stand here, and I will never die. Like, to kill me here, they have to actually get past the choke, right? And your team should be doing a lot of damage to the choke. On top of you, like if you got a Hanzo shooting at the choke, if you got a Zenyatta or a Baptiste shooting at the choke, they will also be doing a lot of damage to an open choke. Because if you want to... Hold on, let me do it the other way around. If you want to push here with Rein, even if you make this, like, the ideal movement is you come here, and if you want to push, you do this, right? And you push main that way. Because you can swing at the Rein, maybe fire strike, and you block damage. But in the moment it takes you, even if you hold the shield the entire way, in the moment it takes you to do this, your shield is gonna be gone, and there's gonna be a Rein in your face doing damage, and your team, you cannot block the Rein damage for your team. So the Rein is just gonna be getting free damage at your team, even if you hold your shield and block, like maybe the Hanzo, maybe the Baptiste, maybe the Zenyatta, maybe the soldier on top right? This is why it's gonna be really difficult to push if the Rein is holding here. It's gonna be very difficult to push main, so long as his team is supporting him. And your options are either go for a really quick roll, like if you get a Reaper, just group up with the Reaper, get the Reaper on top of you, then Lucio speed on top of the Rein. And by Lucio speeding on top of the Rein, you can try to kill him right away. If you hit a Zarya bubble and Lucio speed, he gets out. But even if he gets out, you've chased him away. And now you can do this. And try to find that choke, and maybe you... Not a choke, sorry, a cover. So you basically do this and speed with Rein, Reaper, Zarya, Lucio on top of the enemy Rein. And you can try to chase him away. Again though, if their team is with the Rein, like if maybe they have a McCree and a Zarya and an Ana who's healing him, it's gonna be very difficult to chase him off. Even if you rush at him, he's gonna get bubbled, he's gonna get healed, the McCree's gonna stun you. So it really depends both on your team and his team. But mostly, pushing this choke is just, if the Rein is holding here, and he does have the support from the team, like sometimes what you see is that the Rein is holding here, but his team's like not paying enough attention or just not supporting him enough, and you can just walk up to him and kill him. And that's not on the Rein, but also kind of on the Rein, because if you're holding here and your team is not ready to kill you, you should just be here instead, because again, this is the safer position. You can hold this a lot better if your team is with you, but if you're holding here, your team doesn't have to be with you as much. But in either case, if you hold here and your team is playing with you, then this choke is basically free damage for you. You can swing at the choke for free, and if you need healing or support, you just do this. You just take 2 steps, because again, 1, 2 steps, and you're safe. And if they want to push you, they have to first walk past the line. This is a line where their supports cannot see them anymore, and rush you. Or if they try to make this rotation, your supports get free damage at them. They try to make this, like if they force you out and try to make this rotation, then if you're getting healing, you can engage on the backline, because the Rein is usually gonna go first, so you can just go at the supports or the DPS. You can
what
be
if
like
a few people go past with him, and then what's it called? Like when I say a few people, let's say like a McCree and a thing goes past. What's it called? Let's say a McCree and a Zenyatta, let's say, go past.
Okay.
And
if you're letting Zenyatta through, there's a mistake. Zenyatta going through here should die every time. And McCree honestly as well, because again, you get free damage doing this. You literally get free damage. But even if they make it through, like they shouldn't make it through. But even if they make it through, you got 3 people here and 3 people here. So let your team know you are committing, right? So they commit on the same time as you, and go choose one and go. Because their team is very precise. Now they've got a Rein, a McCree, and a Zenyatta here. Zenyatta is low health, McCree is very killable, and the Rein is not, but he's got no support from his actual team. So you can either stay here, you can even hold your shield if you want to block the Zenyatta or the Zen damage. Sorry, the McCree or the Zenyatta damage. Zenyatta and Zen, same hero. You can even hold your shield, you should have full shield. And even if they shoot at you, they got 3 here and they got 3 here. So your team can shoot and negate on those 3 for free. Or you can pressure these guys, if these guys are not paying attention. You can pressure these guys, right? You can keep holding the choke, and your team will win because it's basically a 5v3. Even if you're holding here and defending, what you're doing is you're preventing them from getting through, and their team only has 3 people here. So that's why making rotations is really bad unless everyone makes it. And that's also why Lucio is really good at helping with rotations, because with Lucio, this rotation, which should take you like 5 seconds, can take you like 3 seconds. So it's a lot, like I said, 2 seconds in Overwatch is a lot of time. So just getting here 2 seconds faster can make the difference. In case, I hope that answers the question. That's also why you want to go this way, because if pushing this is very difficult, because again, Hanser can shoot me from there, maybe Soldier can shoot him from there, or Rush, or whatever. There can be someone out there, they can be a rank here.
The skirmish is gonna end.
Yeah, you're shooting a break and you're gonna take 3 damage. So instead you just go this way.
Sir. The skirmish is gonna end, bro.
That's fine, it will just start again. That's fine. But yeah. The children don't really went on the attack again.
But to be honest, I understand what you want to tell me here.
Yes.
Like, you've answered my question.
Okay. That's the important part.
I feel like it's time for I don't know, you've spent a lot of valuable time on me, you know what I mean? If you've still got time, I would love to learn about Winston.
Okay. Monkey is a whole can of other things. And honestly, I'd rather do a different review on Monkey. So, can you send me one for another day and I'll do an entire different review on Monkey?
Yes, sir. Whenever you have, time available.
Yeah.
I would be sure to send you a VOD review any time soon.
Yeah,
and
just
when you've got time.
Just send me a map where you play Monkey mostly, and I'll explain Monkey a little bit more. But yeah, yes, I feel like today is a really good Rein day, so I won't go too deep into Monkey. And I only want Monkey because I wanted to come back faster and be like, you can come up the stairs and go like, well, the Rein is holding here. I'm here now. He cannot do anything to me anymore. So you can just drop and go this way. The Rein again cannot do anything to me anymore, and if your team is with you, you basically avoid the rotation. Or you can just go that way. But yeah, I just wanted to show that and I wanted to come back with Monkey.
I see, good sir. I'll practice a lot on Reinhardt. But before you go, is it okay if you open like a paint, like Microsoft Paint or something like that, and write a few stuff down, and I want a screenshot?
Sure.
This is the core issues that I should work on.
Let's do this one. Hold on.
And if you can go into more detail about it, that'd be amazing. And stuff which I should remember, which is very important.
This should work. Okay, so let's type it here. Yeah. So I will say.
Is it alright if you write it down though? You see where up top.
No, you just want me to use actual letters. Yeah. Like that. Well,
that's much more better.
Let me just swap to monitor capture so the stream can see it as well. There we go. So the biggest thing I think is cover. Working on cover is going to be really important. If you use cover, you're going to save resources. You're going to have a better positioning in general, because cover is made to be that way. Like it's meant to let you hold that space for a long time. And mostly just will help you save time. How can I phrase this? I want to say save time, but make time until your team can make time for regroup, which is something I believe you should be working on. The second one, just in time, is coordinating, especially with your team. You don't have to be talking to coordinate. So again, comms are really important for main tank, but you don't have to be talking to coordinate. If you're playing together, you are already coordinating enough. So mainly just wait for your team, because you are not waiting for your team a lot. And I will say for the third one, work on aggression and identifying. Hold on, I have a better way of putting it, which would be define situations, which is that you've got to recognize when you've got the advantage, when to go aggressive and when to wait. Because again, this is what I saw when you were like trying to push the Reinhardt when he was overextended, and instead you just held your shield which you should not have done. You just waited 1 more second for your team and then swing at him, right? But I think those are
That's
the
understandable.
big ones. And after that, you can
And would
work
you say
on holding the corners better and coordinating with your team, with the boys. But I think these are the basics you should start working on. Again, you should work on
I
them one by
understand?
one. Don't work on everything together.
I understand. Let me screenshot this.
Yep.
Boom. Done.
All right. Everything is on my stream anyway, so you can always go back and watch the whole stream or whatever parts you want.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Like I said, thank you very much for your valuable time. I
No,
take
it's
everything
okay.
that
Don't
you
worry
say
about
to
it.
heart, honestly.
Don't worry about it. And let me know
And
how
right
you're
now, I'm
doing.
excited to practice. Hopefully,
Alright.
this gets me to Masters. I'm 3-2 right now.
Hopefully it may. Yeah. But yeah, just let me know how it's going. And yeah, feel free to do a Monkey Vault review on the review channel at some point.
Yes, sir. Thank you
All right.
very much for your time, sir.
No problem. All right, stream. So that was my first one with comms with someone else watching. I'm gonna take a short break now because it's been actually an hour and a half, and then I'll do a couple more that I've got to do today. But short break time. I need to hydrate and I need to go to the bathroom.